Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment.
Israel kills senior Gaza commanders as rockets cause first death in Israel. The Israeli military has killed 2 Palestinian Islamic Jihad commanders in airstrikes in Gaza during a third day of fighting with militants there. A pre-dawn attack on an apartment in Khan Younis killed the head of PIJ's rocket launching force and 2 others, who the military said were militants. In the afternoon, his deputy was killed in a strike in a nearby town. Later, 1 man was killed when a rocket fired from Gaza hit a building in the central Israeli city of Rehovot. It was the first fatality in Israel since it began an operation against PIJ on Tuesday morning with a series of airstrikes that killed another 3 of the group's commanders. 28 people have been killed and 86 injured in Gaza over the same period, health officials there say. At least 10 civilians are also among the dead, which the United Nations has called unacceptable. The Israeli military said 4 people, including 3 children, were killed in Gaza by rockets falling short on Wednesday, though this has not been corroborated by Palestinian sources. PIJ denied the allegation and accused Israel of trying to evade responsibility for their deaths. Militants have launched at least 547 rockets and mortars since Wednesday, with 394 crossing into Israeli territory, according to the Israeli military. Some have hit buildings, but most have landed in open areas or been intercepted. The early morning Israeli airstrike in Khan Younis, in southern Gaza, destroyed an apartment at the top of a 6-story building and damaged the apartment below it. Abdullah Samir Hamid, whose apartment in a neighboring building was also damaged, said he had just got into bed when he saw an extremely bright flash of light, turning the dark night into day, and then 2 explosions sounded within a few seconds. Stones and glass fell on us, we couldn't see a thing, and we didn't know where everybody was. I could hear the yelling and screaming of the children, and them calling out, "Daddy, Daddy," he told Reuters news agency. I crawled to them, and found them covering their heads with their blankets, he added. I took them and we went outside. I returned and took my wife and our 6-month-old baby who had been hit by debris and glass. The armed wing of the PIJ confirmed that the head of its missile unit, Ali Hassan Ghali, also known as Abu Mohammed, was killed in the attack, which it described as a treacherous Zionist assassination. The Palestinian Health Ministry said 3 people were killed and 7 others injured. Palestinian media reported that the 2 other dead were Fali's brother and nephew. The PIJ is the 2nd biggest militant group in Gaza after Hamas, which controls the territory, and has been responsible for many of the rocket attacks on Israel in recent years. Israel Defense Forces, IDF, confirmed it had targeted Ghali and what it called 2 other Islamic Jihad operatives in Gaza in their hideout. It described the commander as a central figure in the PIJ who had been responsible for the recent rocket barrages launched against Israel. Later on Thursday, militants began firing mortars and rockets at Israeli communities near the Gaza perimeter fence, damaging 2 homes in the Eshkol Regional Council area. The IDF said it struck a number of targets belonging to PIJ in response to the rocket fire before it announced in the late afternoon that it had killed the deputy head of the group's rocket launching force, Ahmed Abu Daka, in an attack in the town of Bani Suhaila, near Khan Younis. Abu Daka took a significant part in commanding and carrying out the rocket barrages towards Israel over the past 2 days, the IDF said. PIJ also confirmed Abu Daka's death, while local health officials said 1 person was killed and 4 people were wounded in the strike. Anyone who comes to harm us, blood on his head, and also blood on the head of his replacement, warned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during a visit to a military base. We are in the middle of the campaign, both in attack and defense. Not long afterwards, Palestinian health officials reported that another 2 people were killed in the Shayai area of Gaza City. Several barrages of rockets were also launched towards communities in southern and central Israel, triggering sirens and causing residents to run to shelters. Israel's Magen David Adom, MDA ambulance service said there was a direct hit on an apartment building in Rehovot, which is only 20 kilometers, 12 miles south of Tel Aviv. One person was killed, while 5 others with moderate and minor injuries were taken to hospital, it added. Another 2 people were treated for anxiety. A foreign worker was also moderately injured by rocket shrapnel in the Eshkol Regional Council, and an elderly woman was lightly hurt by shrapnel in the Sdot Negev Regional Council area, according to the MDA. Earlier, a spokeswoman for UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said he condemned the civilian loss of life, including that of children and women, which he views as unacceptable. The Secretary-General urges all parties concerned to exercise maximum restraint and to work to stop hostilities immediately, she added. Egypt is working to try to secure a ceasefire between the two sides. Palestinian factions reportedly want Israel to agree to stop what it calls targeted assassinations. However, Israeli lawmaker Yuli Edelstein said it was not willing to accept delusional demands. This week's fighting is the heaviest since 3 days of hostilities between Israel and PIJ last August, in which 49 Palestinians were killed in Gaza.
Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment.